Now, without further ado, let me introduce to you the man of the evening, Chef Scott. He has over 40 years in the hospitality business, from cook to sous chef, executive chef, cookbook author, and also he is here with you this evening, and he is ready to show you a few things. And he also has achieved his associate degree in culinary arts with 10 years of experience, including breakfast and butchery, spanning the restaurant, hotel, and cruise ship industries. So, are you ready? Put your hand claps together, some virtual hand claps, and give it up for Chef Scott.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I am coming to you from Boerne, Texas. That's right outside San Antonio. I live in the country. I was born in the Bronx, raised in New Jersey, went to culinary school. The school that you're about to enter is called the Escoffier Cooking School, Culinary Arts, and it is amazing what you're going to learn in our program. You have access to so many different teachers, so many different tutors, so many different people that will help you. I remember the first time that I walked into the school that I wanted to go, I took one look around and said, yes, this is what I want to do. I've been cooking since I'm 13 years old and I'm 60 now. So there you go. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of culinary arts, but it's going to be baking. I'm going to bake potatoes, not baked potatoes, but I'm going to make a dish called pomme dauphinoise or gratin dauphinoise. That's a fancy French name for potatoes au gratin. You can use this for your holidays. And why I wanted to show you this, because Valentine's Day is coming up, and this is my fiance's favorite dish. So let's get started. All right. So first of all, we're going to show you a little bit of knife skills, which you're going to love. So check this out. You get a peeler. This potato, it's a russet potato. It's cleaned. And you're going to peel it. All you do is stroke it from top all the way to the bottom. Long strokes. Real simple. Look at that. If you go from the top to the bottom, one stroke, you save time. Some people, they'll do halfway and then they'll turn it. This is a lot easier to do, right? And then you peel the bottom off. Simple. Really simple. Just peel the bottom off. And you don't have to worry about all these big eyes unless they don't look good and take them out. But if they're okay, you can leave them for this. They're not going to show up in your dish. Not really. Okay. So this dish is basically potatoes au gratin, right? But I'm making it with gruyere cheese, which is a French Swiss cheese. And I'm using parmesan cheese. And I'm also using a little bit of dry herbs. You can use fresh herbs. I'm using a little bit of dried basil, a little bit of dried thyme. You can use fresh basil, fresh thyme. I got salt. I only use kosher salt because it melts easier. Never use table salt when you're cooking. It's not good. It's got iodine and it's too strong. I'm using ground black pepper. I got Parmesan cheese like I showed you. I got Gruyere cheese that's grated. And then I have chopped garlic. Okay, easy peasy. Now, this is my container. I buttered it with whole butter. Simple as that. My oven is at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And now I'm going to show you how to use a knife. So when you use a knife, you're going to take your hand and you're going to make it into a claw, like a claw. Claw. Put it on your cutting board. This is called your smart hand. Your smart hand tells your dumb hand, which is your knife hand, what to do. So if your smart hand guides your knife, you don't get cut. Smart hand, dumb hand. Let the smart hand guide your knife. Watch. When you use your knife and you're cutting and you roll your knife like this, it needs to know where it's going. So you use your fingers, your second digits right up against the knife, And as you slice, you move your hand back. Roll your knife. Slice, roll your knife. Slice, roll your knife. That's how you would cut herbs, for example, like this. Now, what happens when you have a bigger item? Oh, well, this is a little bit more tricky. So what you do is you have to make sure that your knife is set really well. I mean, your potato is set, or the item is set really well. So you got to really hold it tight. All right. Now, we're going to cut this into 1/8 of an inch. So how do I know if it's 1/8 of an inch? Well, if you look at the top of the knife, if I took a ruler and I measured this right now, the top of the knife is 1/8 of an inch. If I double it, it's a 1/4 of an inch. If I double that, it's a 1/2 inch. If I double that, it's 1 inch. So you can actually guide your knife and use the measurements just by looking at the top of your knife. If you want a 1/16 of an inch, you go half the size of your knife, the top of your knife. So this is a good ruler for you. Okay, so check this out. So you're gonna hold it tight, and you're gonna slice down, thin. Okay, as you slice down, you only want to slice about 1/8 of an inch. So don't get ahead of yourself. Right? Just very careful. And it's sort of like a push down. I'm pushing it down, pushing it down, I'm pushing it down, pushing it down. I'm not doing this. I'm not rolling the knife because I'm on top of it. So I want to push it down. And I want it about 1/8 of an inch. So potatoes will be pretty thin. If you get a thick one in there, don't worry about it. It's going to kill anything. This is cooking. We're not going to the moon. This isn't rocket science, right? We can always figure something out. If we make a little mistake, if it's a little too thick, a little too thin, it's still going to work. All right, so I got my potato almost done. Now it gets to the dangerous part, so you got to be careful. So what I do is instead of trying to hold the end of the potato like that, just set it down, and then I'll cut it this way.
So Chef Scott, while you're finishing, we did have a couple questions real quickly. What was the other cheese besides Parmesan? Are you left-handed?
And like a Swiss, it's like a Swiss cheese. It's a French, it's called gruyere, just the French version of Swiss cheese. And all I did was grate it on my box grater, you know, not too thick, not too thin.
Awesome. And salted or unsalted butter?
Always unsalted butter. Very good question.
Okay. And then they are asking, someone's asking if you're right or left-handed.
I'm lefty.
Okay. And then
I am a lefty chef.
Great. Thank you. And then do all the knives have the same top width?
What's that?
Do all the knives have the same top width?
Most of them, yeah. Most French knives will have it, but you can do your measuring and see how you're doing it. Now, what I'm doing now, can you see that? Yeah. I'm layering it sort of like a spiral. Again, it's been buttered. And I'm putting my layers in it. Once I get my first layer, I'm going to take a little bit of the dried herbs, basil, thyme, some black pepper, a little tiny bit of salt, don't overdo it, some Parmesan cheese, some gruyere cheese, just a light sprinkle. You don't want it heavy. And then about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. Spread that garlic everywhere. All right, if it doesn't spread, don't worry, because what's going to happen, it will be fine once it's cooked. Okay, next layer. Again, you're going to lay it in here spiraling. Look at that. It's kind of fun because it looks pretty, right? You're making a nice design, and that's later going to show up when your dish is done. Okay? So there you go. If you got any spaces, you can fill them in too, like I'm doing here. All right, again, some dry herbs, some black pepper, some salt. Not too much salt. You don't want to over salt. You got cheese that's got salt in it too. Be careful. Gruyere. And again, some chopped garlic. Spread that around. Now you can see this is really an easy dish. And what's so fun about this dish is you can make it today, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then heat it up in a 300-degree oven to heat it up. Now, to cook this, you want a 400-degree preheated oven. That's what you want. So I've already preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I think I'm going to do one more layer. Why not? A little dry herbs, a little black pepper, pinch of salt. All right. And now I have my cheese. And I'm going to put the rest of my Gruyere in here. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Some garlic. All right. Spread that around. And now I got to take some heavy cream. You see that? Right there. And I'm going to heat it up. All this is heavy whipping cream. Right now, I'm using about a half a quart. All right. I'm just going to heat it up so it gets hot. It doesn't have to boil really. All right, and I'm using a stove like a convection stove, so it's a lot faster. All right, the convection stove is done by magnetic, by the bottom of the pan has a magnet on it, and then the stove has a magnet, and it heats it up, and it makes it a lot easier for you to bring something up to a boil quickly. It's faster than gas. It's faster than electric. So, you know, something that you see on cruise ships all the time. That's what they use in their kitchen. Because, of course, they can't have gas. And all this little extra little chopped stuff, I put it on top. Now, on the top layer, you don't want to really put too much stuff. So I'm going to season it with salt, a little pepper. I don't want to put garlic on it because it could burn. But I am going to put the rest of my cheese. See that? And if I was showing you right now, believe it or not, the cream is already heated up. It was that fast. That's pretty cool. All right, so you're going to pour it over the top. Just like that. You want it to be filled up pretty well. Don't overfill it. But you see how it's like, even with the potatoes, that's what you want. Have your hot cream. Then you're going to take a piece of foil. And you're going to put that over the top. Try the side up. A lot of foil today, the dull side is non-stick. You have to do that or not. Now I'm going to pop it in my oven for about, it says 40 minutes on your recipe, but this size is going to take more like an hour and probably an hour and a half. Maybe an hour and 20. I'll check it in an hour and see how it goes. All right, so I got it in my oven. All right, it's cooking, and oh, it's done. Check it out. How you like that?
And we do have
the shape changed. The oven made its shape into a rectangle. How do you like that? You know, I'm just teasing. All right, so this is all done. You can see what I did was I cooked it for about an hour and a half, and I took the top off. When the top was off, it was all bubbling, but it was white. So after about an hour and a half, I take the top off and I leave it in the oven for about another 10, 15 minutes. And as soon as I get that golden brown color, I know I'm done. Now, if you wanted to put this in the refrigerator and serve it tomorrow, take the foil that you used, let it cool down, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then put it in a 300-degree oven, covered for about 40 minutes, 35 minutes. Check it about 35 minutes, make sure it's hot. Boom. You got potatoes that are already done for your company. You could cook a steak with this. All right. We are almost done. All I want to do is show you how to get it out of the mold. So instead of just using a spatula, take your knife and run your knife around the edge, just like this. And then cut it. Just like that. About the size that you want it. Some of you are going to say, wow, that's a big portion. Wait till you eat it. You'll be like, I want more. All right, see, you just push your spatula in there. That's all she wrote. That's what I'm talking about right there. You got perfect, creamy gratin dauphinoise or potato au gratin. Check that out. That is delicious. It should be garlicky. It should have good salt in it. You'll have a good, from the dry herbs, you'll taste the herbs. And that's how you do it. Any questions?
Oh, Chef Scott.
Lots of questions.
I bet. This is
approximately
a great dish,
how many
y'all.
potatoes did you use for this dish? Approximately how many potatoes did you use for this dish? Just two? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, you know, you could take sliced mushrooms, you could saute them, and you could put them in your layers.
Okay. Now, there were a couple other questions with regards to adding some more ingredients like ham or bacon. What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, you could saute the ham ahead or just cook your bacon and just sprinkle it in the layers.
Okay.
You could put spinach between the layers.
Wonderful.
You could put diced tomatoes between the layers.
That's a good one.
You can even put sliced roasted Brussels sprouts between the layers and make a casserole of potatoes and Brussels sprouts. This is the start of everything. I used to put black truffles. Do you know what those are? Those are truffles that grow in either France or Italy, and they're about $1,000 a pound, and they slice them very thin. It's like a mushroom, but it's the most expensive mushroom in the world. You'll see some chefs, they'll serve this, and they'll come with the shaver, and they'll shave the mushrooms on the top. And that dish will go from this to about $50. Yes, with shaved black truffles on it. Not the dessert, the mushroom.
Would you be able to have any success making a dish like this in an air fryer?
I never did it in the air fryer, and I'm not sure if it would work.
Okay. And what about?
You can try it.
Okay. What about the cheese that you use? Is it always a cheese block, and you cut it yourself?
Yeah, but you can buy grated cheese if you want. Make it even easier. Okay. You can buy grated Parmesan. You can buy grated Swiss and use that. You don't have to use Swiss. If you want to do this with cheddar, you can.
Do you have any recommendations for a substitute
cheese
for vegans instead of using a cream-based? Anything that you can substitute for vegans?
Whatever type of substitute milk that has no flavor that you like not an almond flavor. It would have to be plain. You know, like maybe rice milk would work.
Okay.
That might work.
Thank you.
Because, you know, if you could use vegan cheese and rice milk, the cheese will help it come together. So yes, that's a good question. And by the way, in our school, there's no stupid questions. So you should always ask away and never be embarrassed.